Let's go. The meeting of the Plaquemines Parish Council as sole governing authority of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District is now called to order. The machines are open for roll call. We have 9 council members present. Reverend Edwards stepped out for a moment. But just for the record, we have 9 council members who will be voting. Next item on the agenda.
Item 2, executive session. There are none. Item 3, status report by the Executive Port Director.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and esteemed Port Commissioners. We are pleased to update our ongoing initiatives, including our master plan development, our Point Lahash Ferry Landing repair, assessment of the RFPs, the proposals that are in hand, our container terminal milestones, and our port policy renewal. It's worth noting that the port is instituting, starting next pay period, a new state-of-the-art payroll system, UKG. And this upgrade really promises to us some enhanced efficiencies that are going to reduce man hours involved in completing our biweekly payroll process and our tasking. So we're very excited about that. Regarding the 2024 master plan, the port staff has provided a draft with completion plans scheduled for May the 31st of 2024. We are on task. We provided you guys with a draft of where we are with the first 6 chapters, and we anticipate that we will stay on task. The plan will have a comprehensive economic development opportunity section for our entire district, including LNG and containers, but also including dry bulk and liquid bulk as well. It incorporates an inclusive, public and private land marine facility section where we're looking at how do we develop not only what we have as a landlord port, but also what some of our esteemed tenants like United Bulk Terminals, like Chevron, et cetera. Additionally, the master plan will include a detailed economic impact analysis, which is well underway. It will have a cost-benefit analysis baseline for future grant requests, and it will also have a section in it for economic development that we will be able to share for marketing purposes, whether that's with LED or it's the port's marketing initiatives. We do intend to commence our rebranding effort next month. That is going to be pending approval from the commission on the plan and going forward. And efforts continue with our lobbyist, Mr. David Vitter, to meet with our state legislators to garner support for our container terminal project. David Vitter has scheduled a meeting this week with Representative Mark Wright on House Bill 685, which aims to create a port commission with nominated members from PAL for deepwater, inland, and coastal ports. Those nominees will ultimately be appointed by the governor's office. So we're actively involved in making sure that we understand what's in that bill. Yesterday, Jefferson Parish did amend the CEA that we already have approved for the Peters Road bypass. Essentially, Jefferson Parish's version appointed a point of contact lead person in the parish that will be running the project, and there's some other little minor changes, but essentially it ties together the port's $1.5 million that we've already committed with Jefferson Parish's $1.5 million, with Gretna's $1.1 million, which gives us $4 million to start the 30% design for the Peters Road bypass. And I would like to just point out that this bypass is an essential milestone in our container terminal project. Also, I'd like to point out that we're pretty pleased with the results from this past weekend with the ferry, where we were able to run 2 ferries during the air show. The relationship with Glow Resources is intact now. We're continuing to build on it. But we're confident at this point that if we had to run 2 ferries today, we could actually do that. We have a couple of other initiatives that we're working on that's going to strengthen that further. But this professional services agreement really is going to be beneficial to the parish, particularly with the latest news that the Chalmette Ferry was shut down, and there was an article that suggested it might be down for a year. So we're monitoring that situation, and we're watching the ridership, and what we really want to focus on is to ensure that if it is impacting traffic in a negative way, that we're adjusting our schedule to try to mitigate that impact. That completes my report, and there are no further reports from the port staff. Thank you.
Any comments from the floor? From the table, Commissioner Kokrovich?
With the Chalmette Ferry out, do you think we could go back to charging and having a way for parish residents to show your driver's license to ride for free?
I mean, I think that's up to the commission, the port. I mean, we own the ferries, you know, and we know that we operate at a loss. We also support Plaquemines community, and if whatever the commission, you know, wants to move going forward, the port will support that request.
Because I'm sure we're going to see an increase in ridership.
Commissioner Jurcic?
Yes, you know, the Point LaHash Ferry is getting really heated. And it's time to give the people what they want to hear. What is the real time frame?
Yeah, so at this point, we are assessing, the quotes that are in. We do have 3 quotes. We have some irregularities in the quotes, so we are doing a very deep dive to make sure the decision that we render is the right decision. And if you remember, we also received an 11th hour demand from the United States Corps of Engineers to provide a slope analysis. So we're conducting that slope analysis as we speak. We are hoping to have preliminary results next week. And so the irregularities that we're looking at and the impact from that slope analysis, we're going to bring all of that together. And my goal is to have a recommendation to the commission on what we believe the way ahead is going to be by next Friday. And the slope analysis really will dictate what that real date is going to look like. So we got that from the Corps of Engineers. It's a curveball that we received. We're addressing it, and we're working it as fast as we can, Commissioner.
Is that something we possibly should have caught early on? I mean, why did the Corps come in so late? Did we not do what we were supposed to do? Did the engineers do what they were supposed to do? I mean, look, I got phone calls as late as last night. You know, people wanting to know, and I have no answer anymore. I'm telling them, don't be surprised if it's not the end of the year.
Right.
And that's not what I want to tell people. Believe me, we told them some lies already. You know, we've given them midsummer, now fall. Now we could be looking at 2025. That's unacceptable for repair.
Yeah, Commissioner, thank you for that comment, and we are concerned about providing a service for the public as well. Obviously, this mandate that came down from the Corps of Engineers was outside of our control. It was based on a 1980s report, 1980s data. We received that information at the 11th hour. We were ready to move forward and try to stay on the timeline that we had planned. And so we are having to adjust. And at this point, the outcome of that slope analysis could dictate that this project could stay on task, or it could dictate that this project, the scope may change, and it could change that timeline. So we're working on it. We're working as fast as we can. In terms of if we should have known, a project like this where we're not actually drilling, I I mean, we're just repairing. It did not require a slope analysis. The Corps of Engineer came online at the last minute and put this slope analysis on us on a concern from the 1980s. So we were just as shocked, and we I mean, clearly, did not want to create a situation where the public feels as though they're being misled. This is a Corps of Engineers mandate that's on us, and we're dealing with it, and we're dealing with it as fast as we can. We have a couple of law firms involved in helping us to assess everything that we need to assess. We have a couple of engineering firms, so we are working this diligently.
Commissioner Edwards?
Yeah, and I wasn't gonna touch on it, but Mitch, I get, how many calls, I can't tell you calls I get. I tell people at this point, I'm not going to respond to the ferry thing, because I've heard so many stories, and I'm not gonna tell you anything. I can't tell you when. As far as most people on East Bank don't see that as it being a priority, regardless of what Charles said, I'm not saying they're not, but I'll commit to the point where we just don't see that as being a priority. I get that over and over. So I don't even try to even defend that anymore, because it's such a disgusting thing that I hear every day, not someday, but every day. Move on. On the part with the ferry, though, the two ferries running, last week I got so many calls when we decided to run the two ferries for the air show. And when we had the community fair, they couldn't run it for that. And the community was totally upset that the air show, because that's not something East Bank people live to every year. Oh, the air show coming, we got to get ready of family and children. But the community fair, that's the event that we think about, and we have more people need the use of it than what we did, and we found a way to do that. I hear Mr. Charles is saying that they can run it. We need to have two ferries running. To what you're saying, Patty, I had a conversation with many people about looking at the fact of the ridership. Now, I've been talking to ferry people every day, about the ridership. It haven't got too bad. Sometimes, mostly in the evening time, what I found out is in the evening time is when a lot of people are there. Several people suggested to me is that if we can develop some kind of sticker to put on people's car, then that would help. Because I think right now, to try to do something, the deckhand would have to go to every car to find out whether somebody lived, and that really would hold the traffic up. So I don't have any objection to charging people, but we need to come up with a process to making sure everybody local have a sticker, use the voter registration card, and they can get a sticker and put on the car. But right now, to saying that if you don't live in the parish, it would be taxing up on those employees to go to every call. Because, people going to say, oh, I left this and I left that. I can see really people missing the fair to go to every call to do that. So if we can come up with a way to get stickers for every local person, using the voter registration card to get stickers, that we can get stickers immediate. The minute we can get stickers for local people, I'm in favor of charging outside people to come in, but we have to have a process in place to make it happen.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Edwards, and we will definitely take that under advisement with Mr. Brown, and we'll look at what we can come up with, and we'll present that by the end of next week. And I too share your concerns about the community, and I know for a fact, because I've spent some time in the community, that Point LaHash Ferry is a way of life, for the East Bank. I totally get that, and we're working that as fast as we can. And I just want to emphasize that this agreement that we had approved at a previous council meeting last month, or earlier this month, to start with Glow Resources has really made the difference. That is the only reason that we were able to run two ferries. So prior to entering into this professional services agreement with which we worked on for about 4 months, we could not. And so we can now, and my commitment, Commissioner Edwards, to you and to District 1 and to the public is for us to make sure that we're doing everything that in our power to get the ferries back to where they need to be. And as far as I'm concerned, that means that the ferries are predictable, they're on time and that they're safe.
So can we get the two ferries to start running now? That's what I'm saying. You're saying that, because my understanding it was an experimental thing last week for the air show, and I just heard you say we can run the two, so we can run the two. Why don't we start running the two?
Yes, sir. That's a very good question, and we actually started having that conversation as soon as we heard that the problem that's happening with Chalmette and the problem with the RTA. So we started having that discussion. There is a matter of one additional engineer if we wanted to run this on an ongoing basis. Mr. Brown is looking at that as we speak, and it is something that we're considering, and we'll make sure that we have a recommendation to you and to the rest of the commission by the end of next week.
And I'm saying we're willing to get all the churches together. If you could talk about getting the stickers together, because I think as soon as we get the sticker on people's cars, we could begin to talk about charging people outside the parish. But you can't do it to me until you have that process in place, because again, the ferry here in Deccan is not going to be able to really do that and be on time with getting people on the boat.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, we thank you for that. I mean, do you think the community will be open to using the app on their phone? Because there is a
A lot of the
process.
elderly people don't use the app, and that's not going to work. I could tell you, we could try some people, but overall, that app is not one of the most popular things with folks.
Okay. Okay, we'll take that under advisement, and we will get back with you by next Friday.
Commissioner McCarty?
I'd like to add to what Mr. Edwards spoke to regarding the sticker. Many years ago, there used to be a sticker for elderly people to cross the ferry without paying. And so perhaps the younger generation could use the app. But is it possible to ask Mr. Surpass to do a cost use analysis? So looking at the financials here, we have many expenses that are beyond this. For instance, the ferry expense is not on here. And we don't know what, you do have total projected budget. Do we have the projected cost of all the things that
Yeah,
are
we
coming up?
can provide I mean, if you want to see what the total loss was last year and what the projected loss will be this year, we can definitely provide that. Our operating costs definitely exceeded $4 million, and the revenue generated last year was somewhere in around the $250,000 range. So we can provide those reports. We typically, in our reports for the commission, we don't provide a detailed run
Yeah.
on profit and loss on the ferries, but we have the capability to do that.
So if we're going to start running two ferries because of the Chalmette population coming through, that's going to increase our costs, and I just want to know.
That's
We
correct.
can recoup some of it.
And our single biggest cost is fuel. So when we're running two ferry boats, I can tell you that our fuel cost is going to go up at least a minimum of 25%. And I mean, when we look at what it costs on a monthly basis, fuel-wise, to operate the Pride, which is the big boat, it's about it was $30,000 a week. It's more than both of the other boats put together if they're running monthly. So it's a very expensive boat to run. So when you bring that second boat in, you're just going to have additional fuel costs, and then you're going to have more people on the payroll. So it clearly will have an impact, and we can provide a forecast on what those numbers will look like by next Friday.
Commissioner LaFrance?
Yes. I just want to make this perfectly clear that the Point Lahaz Ferry is very important to the people on the West Bank also. We utilize that ferry very much, and it's a big inconvenience by not having it. But it's not just the people on the East Bank, but it's the people on the West Bank also. Mr. Brown, could you elaborate and tell the council, commissioners, on some of the technology that we looked at in Washington, D.C., that we're considering and putting on the ferries?
Yes. So some of the technologies we looked at is going to allow us to operate more safely. You know, traditionally when we look at night vision technology, it had that green tint, but we will be in the position to have night vision technology as an aid on our ferries, not only during fog season, not only during rainy weather, but any inclement weather. Because as it stands and as it stands for the last 2 to 3 decades, we're the only operation running in inclement weather. Everybody else stopped besides the small tugboats. And that's going to be imperative that we set our staff up for success, especially since we're going to be the only the ferry service in the region pretty much that can carry vehicles back and forth across. So as we look forward to repairing Point Last Ferry Landing, as we look forward to operating 2 ferries in Belle Chase Scarsdale Crossing, we're going to implement and adopt as much technology as possible, as much professional service as possible to make sure that this ferry service is running for all of the residents of Plaquemines Parish.
Thank you.
Commissioner Jurasich.
Yes, just one other thing, when you talk about the fees and charging, and not charging this one, charging that one, I don't care if it's a sticker or what it is. Some local people won't get that sticker, they'll get charged, they'll call, it's gonna be just we either charge everyone or charge no one. That's the way I look at it. Keep it simple, keep it clean. You wanna charge, everybody pays. If you don't wanna charge, nobody pays. I get it, that we're gonna lose funds, but a sticker. Mr. 85-year-old Jones don't know about a sticker. He gets on the ferry, he's got to pay $1 because he don't have a sticker. Not everybody's got technology like these. I still see people walking around with flip phones. How you get an app on a flip phone? Got to be pretty good at that. So my thing is, you either charge or you don't charge.
Got it. Thank you.
Commissioner Edwards.
Yeah, and Mitch, I understand what you're saying, but I still believe that for that old man, we can find out those things we have a problem with, getting some help for him to do it. But I don't think that it should be just either or thing. I still think that we can charge people outside the parish, and we can identify people like that old man and get him the technical support that he need, with it by in advance when those situations come. But I think overall, because of what's happening with the Chalmette Ferry, that we really need to look at that charge thing. But having a process, and then we can work out the kinks for people like the old man who like me, just because I had a flip phone up until not too long ago. And so, and I still don't know how to use it. They call it a smartphone, and I still haven't figured out. So I don't know, I'm not going to say that about what that mean about me, but I still haven't fit. So anyway, and I know Mr. Brock probably still got one yet. But anyway, so about Mitch, I just think that I don't think that we should take the position that just because we might have a few individuals, we don't. Because I understand the revenue issue is important, and I'm telling you, every day I've been looking at the traffic to see I act the deckhand about it, and I just think that's some money we can capture, because if it was going on Chalmette, that's money that they would be paying. So I'm not just saying no to it because of few people. I think we can work that out with people who having problems, with phone to help somebody to give them a system with the community acting. Well, I don't say community, but have somebody help them with that. But I just think that we need to look at a way to utilize the fact that all these people coming in to the parish because of Chalmette, that's a lot of people coming in and how we do that. But it's not sick of some kind of process.
Any other comments from the table? In closing, I'll say, though, fortunately, we're a small, close-knit community, and those folks who have some challenge, I think we all know who they may be, and they ride the ferry recurring daily, so we pretty much know who it is, and we can help them out. So again, Charles, I guess the challenge is for you guys to come up with something and present it to the council as soon as possible.
Thank you.
All right, Kim, next item on the agenda.
4, bids and advertisements. There are none. 5, introduction of ordinances and resolutions.
We have several. And they are all for Commissioner Champagne. An ordinance to amend the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District 2024 operating expenditure budget and 5-year capital improvements plan, land expropriation, Lot 61, Piano Keys project, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District 2024 operating expenditure budget and 5-year capital improvement plan, land expropriation, Lot 54, Piano Keys project, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District 5-year capital improvement plan, purchase 8056 Highway 23 project, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance authorizing Charles Tillotson, Executive Director of Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, to purchase land owned by Carl S. and Robin M. Woodall. And finally, an ordinance authorizing Charles Tillotson, Executive Director of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District, to purchase land owned by Nelvin J. Perrin, Amy H. Perrin, Vincent Perrin, and Christopher Perrin, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
Next item.
6, ordinances and resolutions on second reading and final passage. 6A1 is deferred. 6B is deferred. 6C is deferred. 6D, a resolution certifying that the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal complied with bid laws in regards to the Alliance Water Booster Station and Feed Lines project and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer. Ask for a second from Commissioner Newsom. Any comments from the floor? From the
I'm the pretty one.
from the port? From the table? Machines are open. And the ordinance passes 9-0. Next item.
E, resolution certifying compliance with the public bid laws. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer.
This has to fill in a blank, I'm sorry.
We have the state project number, which is H period 014966, then within parentheses, the number 322. And that's in 2 different locations, one at the very top of the resolution and one in the first whereas. And then also fill in the blank of today's date, March 28th, 2024, for the date that we have assembled to adopt the resolution. That's it.
Yeah, I offer with changes. Or additions. I offer with additions.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Newsom. Machines are open.
No, comment.
We have any comments? Down or none? Nobody chimed in.
Excuse me, anybody got a Brown Lincoln is blocking the prison van, they need to get out with the prisoners.
Is it beige?
Brown Lincoln,
Tan?
huh?
Is it tan?
Yes, they need to, somebody to move it right away to prison. Out the judge.
Commissioner Gui, Commissioner McCarty, Commissioner Kognovich, Commissioner Vici, please vote.
Councilmember
Yes.
Edwards.
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner. And it passes, the resolution passes 9-0. Next item.
F, an ordinance to amend the 2024 manpower structure and operating expenditure budget and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer. Seconded by Commissioner Gui. Any comments from the floor? From the port? From the table? Machines are open. And the ordinance passes 8-0 with Commissioner McCarty unable to vote. Next item.
G, an ordinance to amend the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District 2024 manpower structure and operating expenditure budget and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer. Ask for a second. Seconded by Commissioner Gui. And what this does is essentially move money to the Glow Resources Professional Services Agreement so that we can continue to pay the captains. So, any comments from the floor? From the port?
Yeah, I'd just like to reiterate that, Commissioner Edwards, this is what we're voting on, to move money from a budgeted civil service position to Glow Resources. And this is how we're actually able to conduct a dual ferry operation now. So that is new, and it is something that we're going to continue to build on to support the community.
Any comments from the table? Machines are open. Moving money to support Glow Resources. And the ordinance passes 9-0. Next item.
H, an ordinance to amend the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District 2024 manpower structure and operating expenditure budget and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer. Ask for a second. Second from Commissioner McCarty. And what this does is, again, move money to the professional service agreement so we continue to pay for Mr. Surpass's services. Any comments from the floor? From the port?
Yeah, so this is the R. Johnson Professional Services Agreement that we have in place for our comptroller, our Director of Finance position today. This is a temporary fix. It's a professional services agreement, but we do have plans in place right now where we're working on developing internal employees to be able to reach, that level within 12 to 24 months. Thank you.
Any comments from the table? Machines are open. And the ordinance passes 9-0. Next item.
I, an ordinance to amend the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District 5-year capital improvements plan, Point LaHash Ferry Ramp Replacement Project, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Commissioner Champagne.
I offer. Ask for a second. Seconded by Commissioner McCarty. And what does essentially move grant funding into our budget to support the ferries. The ferry replacement, excuse me. Any comments from the floor? From the port?
Yeah, again, this is the $18 million grant that we received from the FTA. We will be having them out to review the site and talk about our plans and moving forward later in the middle of April. But this is obviously putting that $18 million into the port's budget.
Any comments from the table? Commissioner Schultz?
What is our timeline for the replacement ramps?
We will have DOTD here with us with FTA, and that is something that we're going to get an update on. We were told last year this time it would be 4 years. I'm not confident that we've made a lot of progress, but I can tell you that we are going to be having monthly update meetings to keep us on task. But the port, personally, me as the port director, I'm relieved that we have this $18 million in place because this ensures that we are going to be able to build a state-of-the-art facility that will last for decades to come. And we will be budgeting every year to make sure that we're putting the maintenance funds out there for us to, keep this facility in good shape.
And one other comment too is the port director is being proactive in ensuring that slope analysis that has to be done to repair the existing site will be large enough to cover the footprint of the new site, so we're not blindsided by the Corps of Engineers with another absurd requirement at the last minute. Any other comments from the table? My machine is,
It's not, okay. My piece of paper actually touched the screen and made it come on.
any comments from the table? I need to see you. No, machines are open.
Would you like to do a verbal?
No, we're good, go.
Okay.
And the ordinance passes 9-0. Next item on the agenda.
There are no items under 7. 8, approval of the March 14th, 2024 regular meeting minutes.
Offered by Commissioner LaFrance, seconded by Commissioner Cognivici. Next item.
We need to vote.
Vote. Machines are open. And it passes 9-0. Next item.
Adjournment.
Second.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
I'm trying.
So offered by Commissioner LaFrance.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Newsom. Machines are open.
Councilman yours either?
And it passes 9-0. Let the record show that the meeting of the Plaquemines Parish Port Harbor and Terminal District has ended at, I don't know what time it is. 4:20.